Let's see. What? Oh, that. Alright. Let's see what we can do. I know what you're all thinking. Normally, I would let out a little bit of a warning before I even start these things. It's mostly like a what if idea and all that. But might as well get this one over with. Because well, it's been a while since I actually done this, so yeah. Might as well get this over with. That and also a lot of plus some Dragon Ball fans have been requesting this. I am surprised that no one has asked to do a what if Deku was the reincarnation of Broly, of all people. I kid you not many people want that. So today we are doing what if Deku was the reincarnation of Cumber. Glow up AU. No, I kid you not. This one is a glow up AU. So in this one, Midoriya, pretty much went through, well, hell. Now Midoriya is actually born as a Saiyan, and I'm gonna say random bloodline. Let's say Inca Midoriya's. It could be any fucking bloodline you want. I don't give a shit. His father is unknown. All they know is that he was a Saiyan. That's about it. That's all they knew about him. Oh, there was also another thing. Midoriya did not give two shit. It's about anyone. So pretty much in this one, Midoriya literally became his usual thing, mostly this bastard who just wasn't hesitant to kill. Oh, not Chi-Chi. Inko in this one is Chi-Chi's sister. But they don't really get along. Inko has other opinions on her own, and plus they don't really see each other. And mostly every time they do, it ends up with them having an argument, to the point it would get freaking physical, and I mean physical. It's beyond a joke. Oh, and Inko in this one is not a Saiyan, but she knows her martial arts. She ain't fucking stupid. But so, like I said, it would always end up with them fighting. But Izuku does not give a shit, and plus he's rarely at home, which makes it far more worrisome for her. Mostly because it makes her a little bit worried. But she knows that her son is OP as fuck. So it won't be doing much. So she doesn't really worry that much. She does worry enough to the point where Goku will be dumb enough to try to find him. And try to challenge him to a fight, which would instantly end with Goku's death. However, he is friends with certain people, but I'm not gonna say what. So we get to Izuku, who is pretty much minding his own business in an abandoned island. But in case you're wondering, Izuku does have the same abilities that Cumber does. Mostly those abilities allowing him to use claws and the evil aura thing. The only difference is he only uses his powers on hunts, mostly fighting giant monsters and all that. Mostly to keep his temper under control. So we see him pretty much eating a giant monster. So let's say like a really, really big lion. In South Africa. You know what? I'm going to say this one is a Monster Hunter AU. That makes my job easier. Yeah, Monster Hunter AU. Oh. Now, pretty much he's been killing. So pretty much he killed this giant monster. And this monster was pretty easy to destroy. Now, Izuku's chi is all over the damn place, so Goku would always seem to easily find him. But he does not give a shit. This is when we hear, "Hey, Izuku!" Izuku looks up and just looks at them with pure annoyance. But Goku doesn't see that because he's a fucking idiot. "Hey, what you eating?" This is when Izuku just incinerates his meal and pretty much just walks away. Or, "Hey, come on, dude, you avoid us all the time." And Izuku just flies off. Damn it! And Goku tries to say something. "Hey, I'm trying to talk to you!" Izuku flying off faster because he doesn't want to talk to them. Mind you, Izuku in this one is a mute, so he doesn't really talk. Actually, no, he doesn't talk much. So pretty much he continues flying. Man, this guy is getting on my nerves. This one, Goku immediately teleports right in front of him, and Izuku stops. "Look, man, I just want to talk to you. I don't get why you don't like me, but I just want to..." Oh! And this one, Izuku had enough of his shit, of Goku's bullshit, and literally just kicked him right in the privates. Well, and then Izuku hardcore, or pretty much uppercuts him right in the jaw, punches him in the gut, which makes Goku cough off his blood, and Izuku breaks his leg, and literally grabs him and really breaks Goku's back. Like, you can literally hear the back popping thing. And in this one, he just throws Goku at the lake. And just flies off. This one, Goku thinking, this guy is definitely not friendly. With Izuku, who's just flying off. This one, he lands at a random country. I'm going to say China. Now, Izuku is known as the monster hunter. So pretty much he hunts all types of various monsters. So when Midoriya walked up to them, Midoriya literally sat. This is when Midoriya enters a shop. Now everyone knows him, so pretty much they immediately give him some food. And in this one, Midoriya is a light eater. He's not like having those sucking Saiyan stomachs. He doesn't need to eat 24/7. And like a fucking bull hog. He eats his light meal and he goes to the freaking bounty board, which is set up for people who hunt monsters. Izuku grabs a poster and it reads about a monster that's been attacking people at night, and wrapping around in giant spider webs. So Midoriya immediately goes to the location that was last seen. So he gets to the last known location, he sees the giant spider webs. Immediately, Midoriya grabs a journal. Yes, Midoriya keeps a journal around. For stuff like this, I'm going to say. Which is never easy. Let me tell you that. Now, let us get to the point we've all been waiting for. Give me a moment, people. Okay, I'm back. So pretty much he knows what it is, and he grabs his book journal. And he reads about a creature that takes a form of a spider, but also has the body of a spider, but the face of a woman. Now, I don't remember what this creature is called, so that's what this is what Monstrum is for, by Story. Here you go.
People are freaked out by spiders. It's not just that they have so many disproportionately long legs or move erratically. It's also that they have fangs that can bite you, and they kill things way bigger than they are. Yeah, real spiders are scary. But how about a giant spider that could actually eat you? Meet the Jorogumo, taking the scary spider thing to a whole other level for centuries. Appearing as an attractive woman to lure her victims to a painful death, this giant shape-shifting spider of Japanese folklore is both beautiful and deadly, like the real-world spider that shares her name. For now, let's explore how this deadly female monster snared imagination in her web by taking a look at ancient storytelling and the mysterious world of the Japanese yokai. I'm Dr. Emily Zarka, and this is Monstrum. Broadly speaking, the word yokai refers to any weird or supernatural creature or phenomena in Japanese folklore. Yokai offer explanations for things that seem unusual or defy the known world. They are personal and cultural, shifting meaning or appearance based on who is telling the story and for what purpose. A yokai can be pretty much anything strange, from oddly moving smoke to head-eating spirits, or even a mischievous paper umbrella. The word yokai is made from two Chinese characters, kanji, that both indicate strangeness or mystery, and the word appears in Japanese texts at least as early as the 8th century. The term popped up more frequently in the mid-Edo period, but wasn't really popularized as the term for anything unexplainable until the Meiji period. A 20th century Japanese folklorist solidified its place in culture when he began using it in his academic writing. Before yokai became the common term for all things creepy, spooky, and strange in Japan, there were a whole slew of names. The name changed based on time period and cultural popularity. In the Heian period, oni referred to anything threatening, although most often that thing was a demon or ogre that had a human-like shape. During the Edo period, another word could be used to label any shape-shifting being, or any oddly formed or scary creature. So the Jorogumo falls under any of these categories, since it is a strange, threatening creature that can take on a human shape or a spider form, covering all the bases with all those legs, I guess. Jorogumo first appeared in literature in the Edo period. It is highly likely that they previously existed as part of an oral folklore tradition. The Joro in Jorogumo translates to prostitute, but is also associated with the word Joro, which historically referred to the women who waited on female royalty. Also known as the binding bride, horse spider, entangling bride, and harlot spider, this shape-shifting creature is unsurprisingly known for her ability to lure handsome men into her clutches by disguising herself as a beautiful woman, before using a painful venom to kill her victims slowly. In some stories, this venom gives the monster the ability to shapeshift. The Jorogumo is said to spin silk strong enough to capture a man in her web, and she can control other spiders. Illustrations sometimes show this creature as a woman with spider legs, or just as a large spider. Spiders play a central role in a lot of Japanese folklore. The earliest known surviving Japanese text depicting a monstrous spider, a picture scroll from the 14th century, includes a story about a shape-shifting earth spider that first appears to two warriors as a beautiful woman. She tries to trap them by throwing balls of silk webbing before they stab her and she flees. Later, the men find a many-legged creature wounded in the same area the woman was stabbed. They cut the creature's abdomen open, and almost 2,000 human heads fall out, along with spiders the size of small children. The creature is called a Yamagumo, or mountain spider, in the text. This seems awfully similar to the Jorogumo, and it definitely shows the association between beautiful women and spiders in Japanese folklore. One of the earliest written stories of the Jorogumo comes from the 17th century text. It tells of a young samurai who takes shelter in an abandoned structure, strung with spider webs. He's approached by a young woman carrying a child, who she insists was fathered by him. The man is instantly suspicious, since the woman was traveling alone at night in a remote place. The child goes to approach the samurai many times, but turns away each time when it sees the man's sword. Annoyed and impatient, the man slashes the woman with his blade. She flees to the rafters. The next morning, the samurai finds an attic where a giant 2-foot-long spider lays, dying from deep cuts along its back, exactly like the ones he gave the young woman. A stone grave statue of a young child is there as well. The samurai looks up and sees a horrific sight: carcasses of all the spider woman's victims wrapped in her web. Another tale from an 18th century collection of ghost stories has a different twist. One hot summer day, a man, the heir of a wealthy samurai family, relaxes and sings on his porch. Suddenly, a woman, who appears to be about 50 years old, approaches him. She tells him that his singing is so beautiful, it's making her daughter fall in love with him. So much so that she wants to marry him. Curious to know if what the woman says is true, he follows her to a large mansion. Inside, he finds a beautiful woman who begs him to consider her as his bride. He declines her offer because he is in fact already wed. Both the young woman and her mother beg him to reconsider, but he remains resolute in his devotion to his wife. So he runs from the mansion, but the second he steps outside the door, it mysteriously vanishes, turning back into the bamboo surrounding his own house. His servants insist that he has been on the porch sleeping the entire time, but the man cannot believe that what he experienced was only a dream. Suddenly, he sees a female spider scuttling away. Looking around, he realizes his home is strung with numerous spider webs, even though earlier he had driven the spiders away with his pipe smoke. Then he remembered how the beautiful girl told him the older woman had also been driven away by smoking. He orders the servants to remove the webs, and fortunately for him, the Jorogumo never comes to him again. An attempted revenge via bigamy and a trick to lure a man to his death? Not all yokai are monsters, but the Jorogumo certainly is. But why spiders at all? You could argue that part of the association comes from the cultural idea that women are out to ensnare men with their physical or sexual appeal, or because of the construction of the spider web itself. Weaving, spinning, and other elements of textile production were historically areas women dominated. Silk weaving in particular was an important cultural, religious, and economic activity in Japan. Then there's the real-life Joro spider, or Jorogumo spider, a member of the Nephilia genus, commonly called a golden orb weaver in English. With their large size and unique yellow-colored silk and webs, it's unsurprising that in Japan these spiders are said to have supernatural powers. Some tales say that once these spiders reach 400 years of age, they develop magical powers and can feed on humans. They can also shapeshift into beautiful young women. Interestingly, female golden orb weaver spiders are much larger than their drab brown color male counterparts. The females are yellow, red, and black and can be up to 4 times larger than the males of the species, reaching 3 to 4 inch wide leg spans. Their golden webs can be large enough to even trap small birds and bats. Given the name of these spiders and how closely its legends relate to the yokai, my guess is that the real golden orb weaver spider helped inspire the original oral folklore of the Jorogumo. Scary lady spider equals scary spider lady. The East Asian golden orb weaver spider was first discovered in North America in 2014, which seems ironic given that their fictional counterpart is becoming increasingly popular here and in other parts of the globe. While long associated with folklore in Japan, yokai have left a strong literary and visual history. When illustrated scrolls became popular during the classical Heian period, yokai that largely existed as oral stories took on visual form. By recording these unusual beings, their forms became more solidified in how they were portrayed, but the art inspired many other different kinds of yokai as well. Today, we've seen a similar resurgence as the Jorogumo becomes more well known outside of Japan. The internet, in a world that's more connected than ever, made manga and anime more popular outside of Japan. And the Jorogumo pops up in both of these. I'm always fascinated by monsters that are exclusively female. And at least with the Jorogumo, there might be a good reason. A reason seemingly based on a real animal. Cultural and spiritual beliefs mixed together with the natural world weave together a story that is completely unique and absolutely terrifying.
Yep, that was her. That she explained all that to you all. Well, so pretty much after that, this is when Izuku sees this, and he looks up the Jorogumo, which he obviously can tell because of the corpses on top. The cops immediately saw that, and he immediately told them what they're dealing with, and they beg him to actually stop this creature for a fee. Izuku knew that they were going to pay him quite handsomely, considering that he's fighting a monster that is not human. And it's a Jorogumo. So immediately Izuku Midoriya accepts it. Midoriya, I'm going to say, carries a type of hammer. Let's say a two-handed one. Let's say Midoriya carries a type of club with him all the time. I can't remember the one time he didn't carry one. So mostly he literally carried a type of hammer that the Persians would use back at Persia. A ceremonial hammer with 2 lion hands on each side of the hammer. And the thing probably weighs a greatest amount as Mjolnir. It's enchanted with the ability to literally cause problems. Mostly it does fire damage. Yep, I'm pulling this little stunt, baby. Hey, you can judge me all you want in the comments, but I'm pulling this stunt. So Midoriya, after this, literally he went off and he actually seeked the beautiful young woman, and she immediately, in nighttime rounds, and she is drawn by Izuku, thinking that she was easy prey. So immediately, as soon as she sent simple. This is when Midoriya immediately sensed it. And immediately when the Dramogobo, I cannot say his name because I know I'm fucking up the name, and attempts to hit Izuku, but Izuku swings his club and literally hits the spider right, well, in the leg. He doesn't even hesitate. So pretty much after that, he quits the lady, and the screech is so loud, you can easily mistake it for an innocent person. But not human at the same time. So Midoriya swings it again. And at the other side of the leg, taking it out. Immediately, Dramogomo tries to use her claws and fangs to bite his head off. But Izuku Midoriya literally grabs the club and literally smashes her head in with the club, spraying green blood all over the place, and destroying the head within. In this one, Izuku immediately rips out her insides and just sees infant spiders coming out of her carcass. Immediately, he gasses it up with oil, which he carries a lot, and pretty much lights the carcass on fire so people can't study it. He knows how humans can literally be cruel with experiments, so he knew killing these spiders was going to be a mercy thing. Because that Inko would have done the same. He respects his mom's wishes, and he only kills bad monsters. He's pretty much a Witcher is the best way of saying it, except without the mutagen, and he's a Saiyan. If you guys want me to actually do a Witcher Saiyan what if, comment down below and I'll give it a shot. Also, the SCP comment, in case you're wondering why that one's taking a little longer, let's just say counter reasons. So yeah, you can imagine that. So Midoriya literally got done with that. So Midoriya managed to get out of there. And literally he comes back with the Dramogobo's head, and that's it. Now, pretty much he was smart enough to destroy the entire corpse. So when Midoriya got out of there, he immediately, this is when he is approached by the cops, and they just see this hideous creature's head. And his hammer being covered in God knows what. Immediately Midoriya is getting paid. And immediately he walks off to pretty much gather supplies for more stuff to be creating to kill monsters. Mostly like Molotov, repair kits to prepare his hammer and all that. You pretty much get the point. He even goes to a blacksmith, even though there's not that many blacksmiths around. But let's say he knows one, and he only allows that certain blacksmith to actually repair his hammer. Where since the guy knew Persian material. Yeah, I meant to say Persian, not Egyptian. Yeah, he knew Egyptian stuff. So, Persian, damn it! He knew Persian blacksmithing. There you go. Sheesh. So he let the guy repair the hammer. Luckily, So Midoriya literally took care of them. So you can imagine the this. But once Midoriya took out the creature and is now getting paid, he knew that the best thing to do was just to move forward. Luckily, Midoriya is also smart about this. So after the guy repaired his hammer, he pretty much flied off, leaving the guy amounts of cash. And he goes to a different country. He ends up in Ireland. And this time, he has a contract for another monster. A monster that I bet not many people knows about it. Yeah. So he is hunting another monster. Now this monster, as I said before, is an Irish thing. But it's still feared to this day.
I'm here to spy.
I don't give a damn about your bitch ass. Anyway, but before we even get to the history of Ireland's monsters, let's start with what he was doing. He goes to a bar, he goes to a local town, and he goes to a local water guy to see if he could buy a contract. And he gave the one about this creature he had to fight. Right? And he immediately knew the creature he has to fight, he's going to need something. Because he knows that brute strength is not going to kill this creature anytime soon. So he asked her who he can buy fresh water from. So he immediately points at the guy who he can get it. Izuku nods and starts walking off. But not until he immediately gets attacked by someone else and blocks the punch with his hammer, which engulfs the hand. Ow, fuck! Ah! This is when Izuku just towers over them. And immediately, this is when he sees a certain person. And immediately, they see each other. And this is when Izuku, who just keeps an emotionless poker face, he doesn't even hesitate to try to be a fucking idiot. Obviously, the guy who saw him immediately knows who he is, but Midoriya does not know who this guy is. Until it was too late. As soon as Midoriya was seen, immediately the guy tries to hurt him. And he continues trying to hit him. Which Izuku's thinking is fucking idiot. Honestly. Like, he's literally looking at the guy like he's an idiot. So Midoriya continues blocking until he finally punches the guy. This one immediately he sees the guy closer and realizes it's Bakugo. And he realized this guy is drunk. So immediately he picks Bakugo up out of pure kindness. You can tell that Bakugo is one of those rage drunkers. So he pretty much holds his temper on him. And in fact, thanks to Bakugo, he knows how to keep his temper a little better than him. So after that, Bakugo literally... Well, after he takes them there... Immediately, Katsuki says... Immediately, this is when Katsuki says, Deku, I'm sorry. I thought you were someone else. Izuku thinking, you're drunk. I'm not even mad. Even I need a couple of bottles of hooch here and there, so I'm not even mad. I just wish you didn't try to attack me on sight. Midoriya just pretty much just sitting there. Like he said, he's not really mad. So Midoriya just gets used to it. He had worse happen to him. So he's not even mad. He's just wishing he had a better temper. This is when Bakugo says, so, how you been? Izuku holds a thumbs up. That's cool, that's good. They talked and this is when Bakugo just falls asleep on his bed. Izuku smirks and just walks off. Now he goes to the guy who he can buy fresh water from. Now you can already tell what you're all thinking. Why does he need to buy fresh water? Is he making something? No, but he's definitely gonna coat something with it. So pretty much he gets to the guy who can sell him fresh water. So you can imagine that. So immediately this is when the guy says, good luck. stuck alive. You're going to need it, Beast Hunter. He nods. And this is when he hunts down a hound where a certain lady we know will explain.
I've covered some pretty gruesome monsters before, shout out to Mananangal, but the Orcadian legend I put before you today ranks pretty high up there, even in my book. The Knuckle-a-V. Like a hideous centaur, it is a fleshless human torso atop an equally defleshed horse body. That alone is terrifying. Then there are the tales of this monster about narrow escapes and widespread death and decay. The creature ravaged the Orkney Islands of the northern coast of Scotland, gleefully killing humans, mangling livestock, and blighting crops. Declared the most cruel and malignant of all uncanny beings that trouble mankind by an academic journal from the late 19th century, the Knuckle-a-V's roots are entwined with the history of Scotland itself, including its Nordic origins, its landscape of jagged cliffs and raging sea, and the influence of the kelp industry. Sounds strange? You have no idea. I'm Dr. Emily Zarka, and this is Monstrum. Horses play a vital role in Scottish folklore, but there is only one Knuckle-a-V. The monster gets its name in part from the word Neogle, which is any water spirit traditionally appearing in the form of a horse. However, much more than a mere equine monstrosity, Knuckle-a-V is a spirit in flesh, whose home is the ocean and whose name actually translates to Devil of the Sea. The human torso boasts an oversized head that rolls side to side as if in danger of falling off of the neck with a whale-like mouth. It has arms that almost reach the ground and is connected at the waist to a horse's body with one red eye and fin-like flippers fixed to the legs. No one knows exactly what shape it takes in the water, but on land, the Knuckle-a-V assumes the terrifying form of a deformed man riding a horse, just as terrible an aspect as himself. The man-horse chimera appear as a singular, grotesque body. A late 19th century text describes the figure in gory detail. The whole surface of the monster appeared like raw and living flesh, from which the skin had been stripped. You could see the black blood flowing through his veins in every movement of his muscles. Spoken of with bated breath in unutterable horror, this malevolent monster is hell-bent on wreaking plague and pestilence and has no redeeming qualities. The Knuckle-a-V is only active in winter, since the mythical giver of life, Mither, or Mother of the Sea, keeps him restrained during the summer months when she has control over the sea and all its inhabitants. Every autumn, the Turon, a hostile enemy spirit of winter, battles Mither for control of the ocean. Drained from the work of the summer months, she loses the battle and is forced to retreat, leaving the Turon in charge and the Knuckle-a-V free until the Mither's strength is regained the following spring. Despite calling the sea his home, the Knuckle-a-V has an aversion to fresh water, which means he never visits while it's raining. Stories like this one from the Scottish Antiquary or Northern Notes and Queries in 1891 speak to his terror of fresh water and the Knuckle-a-V's grotesque appearance. Legend has it that a man named Tomas was walking home along a road near the seashore on a moonless night when he suddenly saw a huge, unearthly thing moving towards him in the darkness. He realized the creature was the dreaded Knuckle-a-V. Thomas knew that he could not outrun the monster, but he remembered the Knuckle-a-V could not tolerate fresh water. So he hugs the edge of the loch on the opposite side of the path. In doing so, his feet splash fresh water onto the monster's foreleg. The Knuckle-a-V shies away, and Tomas runs off. The creature pursues him, bellowing with a sound as deep and loud as the roaring sea. He could feel the creature try to grab him, but Tomas manages a narrow escape by jumping across a small river. The Knuckle-a-V is enraged, unable to cross the fresh water. According to Scottish folklore, water in general was to be feared. The dangers of rushing water, pools of unknown depth, and the raging sea all pose a risk to the living who aren't cautious. But it is also a mode of salvation. Water does support life after all. In Scottish tradition, water is a place of collision, where water meets land, invaders storm shores, and where ideologies may be spread from one place to another through travel. To them, the shoreline was a boundary between the supernatural and the natural. Perhaps that is why, in Scottish lore, water also functions as a sanctuary. It is said that the shore below the high tide line is a safe space from all manner of preternatural creatures. Scottish folklore is full of water horses, but the knuckle of V is unique in that it is a solitary creature. Other monsters like kelpies and knuckles are said to be much more numerous. Encounters with such creatures are always dangerous. No benevolent water horse exists. But the knuckle of V is even more threatening, as it is one of very few sea monsters who come on land in Scottish folklore. So can we attempt to explain this horrible creature? The Orkney Islands' close proximity to Norway meant its inhabitants experienced early and lasting Nordic influence, and Nordic mythology is full of mythical horses. Take, for example, Odin's steed Sleipnir. With 8 legs and teeth engraved with runes, he galloped through the air and across the sea. Odin uses Sleipnir to travel to the world of the dead, Hel, which was ruled over by a being of the same name. Hel the goddess was said to ride on a 3-legged horse during times of pestilence and disease. One horse associated with the sea and another with disease and death? Sounds like the knuckle of V. It's possible that when Orkney was absorbed by Scotland in the 15th century, their culture appropriated these Nordic icons, made them more monstrous, and thus the knuckle of V was born. Aside from running water, there was one other thing that repelled the knuckle of V: seaweed. Or rather, it is said that the burning of seaweed for kelp gave a terrible offense to knuckle of V, and filled him with diabolical rage. While we now think of kelp as a type of seaweed, through the 18th and 19th centuries, kelp referred to the soda ash produced from burning seaweed. This ash could be used to make glass and soap, but the byproducts were also used as a food source for people and livestock, as fertilizer, and even in traditional medicine. The knuckle of V's abhorrence of the pungent smell of burning seaweed, and perhaps his perception of the act as an insult to his ocean home, was said to be the cause of mortashine, an equine influenza that killed horses across the kelp-burning islands. The Orkney kelp trade largely died out in the 20th century, which corresponds with a decline in belief in the knuckle of V. Mortashine was only one example of the real devastation blamed on the monster. The knuckle of V was thought to be responsible for destroyed crops, dead animals, and disease of all kinds, which were said to be caused by his control of mildew, salty air from the sea, or the creature's own terrible breath. Oftentimes, we use monsters to explain the unexplainable: drought, famine, and disease. And for the knuckle of V, it reveals how Scotland is intimately connected to the landscape and local identity. True, not all cultures create a monster that takes shape as a disgusting, skinless, ugly cousin of centaurs, but hey, apparently only Scotland is that cool. Do you like my new porg?
There you go. Oh, the knuckle of V, which is for me, for some reason, easier to say than the spider lady. So pretty much that's the knuckle of V. And the knuckle of this one, Izuku comes out and sees. And this one he grabs fresh water. Now, when Izuku connects to the knuckle of V, the knuckle of V sees him, and he sees him. The knuckle of V attempts to charge, but Izuku does the opposite. He charges forward. But this is when he uses his evil aura, and the knuckle of V is not even flinching. And pretty much Izuku uses his pretty much claws, the claws that Cumber can use to literally grab someone. You know, those claws where his arms were like that, if you get what I mean. Pretty much like in his strength suit, you know, the thing that kept his arms from coming out. You all remember that. And literally sees that, and Midoriya does not even attempt to flinch. He literally grabs the knuckle of V with those, and literally grabs the knuckle of V by the throat. And literally forcing the knuckle of V to drink fresh water. So pretty much after that, the knuckle of V immediately starts trying to his very best to literally try to get the stuff out of his mouth. Like seriously, like he's trying his best to get the fresh water out of his mouth, to the point where it's even clawing himself. The horse is literally galloping around like crazy, and Izuku wraps seaweed around the creature's head and blinding it. to the point where Izuku grabbed his weapon and just slammed his hammer directly to the Knuckle of V's head, and on both of the creature. The creature being fatally wounded, but Izuku does not stop there. This is when he literally creates a mini spirit bomb that is used to pretty much like a spirit bomb. But Izuku creates it out of his finger and literally uses it to destroy one of the legs. Before he could do any more damage, the Knuckle of V managed to push Izuku off of him and literally he tries to gallop away. But Izuku Midoriya swings his hammer onto the Knuckle of V's leg and breaks it. Immediately, the Knuckle of V is now sensing the one thing it has never sensed it. Fear. It's scared of Izuku, the monster. And everyone in Scotland sees this guy being something worse than the Knuckle of V. He grabs fresh water, or a full bucket of fresh water, and starts dousing in the Knuckle of V. Izuku finds out that the fresh water actually burns the skin, considering that it's not made of salt. And sees that daytime is coming and continuously gouges the creature with fresh water. Immediately, Izuku is literally trying his best. Immediately, the Knuckle of V is trying his best to get away. Izuku had enough of the creature's bullshit, literally grabbed his hammer and literally just slammed on the skull of the creature. The horse managed to get away. The horse is dragging itself to the water, but as soon as it touched the seawater, it immediately managed to get out of there. Immediately, the Scottish people cheered for Izuku Midoriya, for defeating the Knuckle of V. Izuku knows it's going to take a couple of centuries for that creature to come back. So pretty much they celebrated by him drinking. With Izuku, everyone's just drinking their heads off. So yeah, you can imagine that. Anyway, this is when Midoriya literally just adds more stuff he needs. Mostly Midoriya managed to take care of them. This is when Midoriya Midoriya managed to get out of there and literally sees Katsuki being, Katsuki. He's mostly just drunk. Izuku sighs, picks him up, and just takes him home. Now, everyone knows about Katsuki, and here's the reason why Katsuki is not a hero. His leg injury. Katsuki suffered a terrible leg injury, to the point where he has to wear a metal one. So it was pretty fucking bad. So Midoriya literally took care of that. Well, this is when Izuku literally says that. Alright. Anyway, sorry about the pause. Midoriya literally grabs a sword. This is when Midoriya just pretty much puts him back in his room. This is when we get back to Katsuki, who just sees Izuku. I was drunk again, wasn't I? Izuku nods. Can I ask you something? He nods. How's, I know you can't speak, but how's Auntie? He shrugs. Have a visitor this week. You haven't visited this last year, have you? He shakes his head. You should. Tomorrow's her birthday. I think she'll be happy to see you. Izuku thinks about it and nods. And gives him a look like if he wants to come. No, I'm good. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy that Auntie's happy, but I still have to work on my anger. Izuku gets the look of understanding and walks off. But before he could walk off, this one Izuku gives him something. What's this? This one he turns the label. Izuku, this is... He nods. Bucko starts tearing up and smiles. Thanks. This one it reads in Scottish, Ochako's ashes. This one he's thinking. And this one a flashback happens. You probably hate me now. I'm a monster. My love, spider or not, I still love you. Oh. Thank you, Izuku. Flashback ends. And says, thank you, Izuku. And that's when Izuku walks off. And immediately he managed to get to Inko. Which Inko lives right in where Goku and Bulma live. So when Izuku got there, he immediately... Actually, not Goku. When Izuku got there, he sees Inko pretty much just working on her farm. Let's say she owns a animal farm, let's say she owns a goat farm, or is there a sheep farm? Let's say she owns a sheep farm. Immediately, this is when all the sheep start panicking. But Inko just smiles, turns around to see her big boy. Nice. Hey, Zuko. He waves back. Heck, still a mute, I see. He nods. Well, you want something to eat? His stomach growls. I think that answers it. With Midoriya, who's now just eating his mom's pie. My, aren't we a hungry big guy? He nods. After getting done eating his pie, he pretty much gets full. Light eater. I knew one pie was gonna fill you up. He shrugs. This is when Izuku says, Alright, let's do this. This is when Midoriya gets done eating. And immediately decides to help his mom before he leaves forever again and this year. Let's hear the best way to say it. Each year he stays with his parents. After each 1 year he's with his family, the other year he's not. He's doing his monster job. That's what he does. So after this, Midoriya is pretty much just helping around the farm. Until someone attempts to shoot a beam at her, and immediately Izuku blocked it. With an angry look, he sees the person trying to kill her. Mostly some frickin' white lizard guy. And he sees the commotion over there, and immediately gets a little bit enraged, to the point where you can sense the evil aura. And immediately he jumps over there, grabs the tube by the skull, and realize it's Goku fighting this white guy with black lips and bald as hell with these weird holes in his head. Not even hesitating, Izuku crushes Goku's head like a grape, looks at the person, and the guy is now just horrified because he sees the evil aura coming off of this guy. Izuku grabs the head after dropping Goku's body, and all you hear from Goku is a splat. And immediately, this is when you just hear obviously it's Frieza, head start cracking open, and you just hear Frieza trying his very best, scratching and kicking and trying to get Izuku off of him, but all you hear is him just cracking the head open like a watermelon. And like, psh. Immediately it's completely brutalized. So you can imagine what happened. So after that incident, Midoriya immediately knew this one. Pretty much he went back down, and all you can hear from the corpses is a splat. Like that's all you hear from that, just a splat. Which immediately, as soon as he as soon as Inko saw him kill someone, she just gives a look like, not again. Yep, again. This ain't the first time Midoriya done this. This one immediately Inko goes up to him. But, son, you can't kill people because they try to kill me. He gives like the look like, but Mom! Please try to control that temper a little better. He sighs and nods. Thank you. Now, this is gonna be interesting to explain. Oh, it's on the sword. Never mind. My bad. So yeah, that's what happened to Midoriya. Yeah. But after that, this is when Izuku literally just settled. This is when Izuku goes back to his mom. He pretty much just gets back helping his mom. Now, immediately, Inko knew that was Chi-Chi's wife he killed. I mean, Chi-Chi's lover he killed. But he doesn't really give a fuck. She doesn't really give a fuck. She's like, should have kept your boyfriend on a leash. That's all she's thinking in her head. Because in her head, she's just looking at a corpse. That's all she's looking. Like, just a corpse. That's it. No one special. So, immediately after that, Midoriya literally just grabbed... Sorry about that. This is when Midoriya just goes back helping his mom. But mostly over the past months, he's been just helping her with chores. And he's only been helping her for the past 2 months. But immediately, before he could even get another dish, immediately this when he hears, so you're the one who's pretty much killed Kakarot by breaking his head open? He looks to see some tall dude. And Izuku is now extremely confused, like, who the fuck is this guy? Because Izuku just sees this little guy. And he just sees him, and all he's thinking is, who the fuck is this guy? So you're a Saiyan, huh? Very powerful enough and not hesitant to try to break... This one he hears, alright, so you are this guy who didn't even hesitate to kill Goku. This one Izuku just gives a look like, who are you? Huh, you actually don't know who I am. Well, let me rephrase your memory then. I'm Vegeta, Prince of the Saiyans. Wow. Izuku gives a look like, I don't care. No, I kid you not. That's the look he gives to... He just gives a look like, I should care? Air? Like, literally, he just gives that look to him, and you could just imagine his look. He's like, is this guy for real? Does he really not care? Izuku thinking, who the fuck is this guy? I don't know who this is. So Midoriya just gives a look like, I don't fucking know who you are, and I don't care. There, Izuku just this one Izuku just gets up and leaves. What the? Hey, I'm not done talking to you. Izuku thinking, I am. And I got stuff to do. Well, before I leave this coming year. But before Izuku could even attempt to leave, a fucking blade comes near his head. And Midoriya immediately notices that. Izuku looks back at the guy. And immediately, Vegeta just looks at this guy in pure annoyance, like, you dare look down on me? Ow. This one Izuku thinking, kinda reminds me of Goku, who just not drunk. Okay. Immediately he tries to shoot another ki blast, but Izuku just grabs the freaking ki blast. What the? Izuku looks at it and just destroys it instantly. He doesn't even attempt to fight back. He just walks away. And don't dare look down on me. Izuku thinking, fuck you. I'm helping my mom with chores. But fuck off. This one ain't here. Izuku! Huh? What? Immediately, Izuku just walks up to his mom. Hey son, and here's the... I noticed you you pretty much bumped into Vegeta again. Wait, that's Izuku? Talk about a fucking glow up. That guy's buff. What the hell has his mom been feeding him? Yeah. And pretty much Izuku. Ooh, immediately, not even hesitating, grabs the guy and just knocks him out. Actually, no, Izuku literally managed just to knock him, and just managed to grab some crates. And immediately yeah. So you can imagine that. So yeah, Midoriya just is like that. He just sitting there. Wow. So after literally just fighting off these guys, Midoriya just looks at everything and just thinking, okay. Nothing new here, I guess. So Izuku continues just minding his own business. And literally is just looking around, minding his thing. He doesn't even attempt to act like he cared. Because he doesn't. No, he doesn't. So after that, Midoriya continues helping him over the years. Bulma attempts to talk to Izuku, but Izuku does not give a shit. He doesn't even talk back. Bulma pretty much scowls him, pretty much scolds him, not trying to talk to his own family, but Izuku does not care. He pretty much just gives Bulma a Walter look, like, I don't care. To try to give a good-ass guess that he doesn't care, but she doesn't get the hint. So, yeah. So anyway, this is when Midoriya literally just, well, he just moves on. So yeah, Midoriya just sits down and literally, there we go, sheesh. There we go, sheesh. Sorry, there were songs playing. This one Midoriya literally just sits down. Literally, this one Midoriya hugs Inkos and bids her his farewells. Or at least he tries. Nice. But before he could even leave, this is when Goku, who is right in front of him, with that very pissed off look. Izuku gives a look like, what? This went, and pretty much he all so sees Chi-Chi. Okay, what's going on? I don't get it. Yeah, Midoriya doesn't really give two shits, so you can imagine his look. Like, he's extremely confused. So, pretty much, when Midoriya, and this is when he hears, you! Me? This one he says, you got balls for a lot what you did. What the fuck? What are you talking about? He immediately gets a confused look like, what are you talking about? So Midoriya, this one Goku shoots a ki blast at him again, but Midoriya just goes why? And just blocks the attack. You can tell Midoriya is not just getting fucking annoyed. Wait, it does not take an expert to know when someone gets annoyed and when obviously needs an ass whooping. Right now, this Midoriya gives a look like this guy needs to get his ass kicked. So yeah, you can imagine the sheer annoyance that he gives to these bastards. Like, it doesn't take a fucking expert. So, after Midoriya just grabs them, but this one, Goku starts shooting ki blasts at him again and again and again, trying his best to actually hit Izuku. But Izuku is just blocking him like they're nothing. And so pretty much after that, Goku goes Super Saiyan mode and tries to hit Izuku again. But Midoriya just blocks the attacks again. This is when Izuku is actually getting a little bit annoyed because this guy, he's just trying to get to his bounty because his year is up, and pretty much starts getting annoyed. And he grabs I quote, grabs Midoriya by the leg. This one Goku, who I quote, grabs him by the leg and attempts to literally harm him. Midoriya, being immune to this pathetic stunt, and just sits there, looking down at this guy. So you can imagine that. So yeah, you can literally just see that, and Izuku just sitting there. So you can imagine his annoyance when he sees this. So he's like, can you please stop? But unfortunately, Goku does not read that look. He's just thinking that Izuku is just looking down on him. But Izuku's thinking, I just want to get to work. Or I have stuff to do. But this is when Izuku thinking, okay, I had enough. And just grabs Goku and literally just slams him down. Literally breaking Goku. But Goku gets up with an enraged look, giving the look like, I will not be bested. So look, but Izuku does not give that look. He's just like, go away. So Goku, but unfortunately Goku does not get that. And Izuku immediately goes, ugh, God, kill me now. Ow. And give me patience to tell this idiot to fuck off. Which he literally tries. No, I kid you not, he tries to tell the guy, hey, look, dude, who technically I'm not here to be attacked by some idiot who thinks that I'm a bad guy. All they cut as I am playing God. So Midoriya getting a little bit annoyed at the fact that this guy's not getting the picture. So this is when Izuku's like, okay, this is enough, and just grabs him by the leg, and literally just starts shaking him like a freaking crazy person. So after that, Midoriya literally just, he just sits there like he pretty much just allows all this to happen. He's not really mad, but he's still annoyed. So after that, Midoriya is just there. So after literally Goku trying his best to whack him, but Izuku just thinking, okay, had enough. He grabs Goku by the balls and just crushes them. No, literally, you can see the blood. He literally yanks them off and literally just starts holding them. Inko just gives him a look like, holy mother of Matilda! Actually, no, this one Inko actually says, holy mother of Matilda. Vegeta says, oh, sweet Saiyan by a casket! Izuku gives the annoyed look, drops him on front of his face, and literally just stomps on them for insult. And Izuku looks at his mom like, do you have any freaking hand? Can I wash my hands? Sink, please. Yes, sink, please. And he starts washing his hands, because he doesn't know where those things have been. So after literally washing his hands, he gets back out there. But this is when he ends up, I think in England is where this monster is. I said I think, I don't know. I must check. Let's see. Okay, I know that's native. No. I'll let her explain this one. And also, I don't remember where this one is, so hopefully she knows. So, I don't care!
It has a long, thin tongue, the wings of a bat, and a taste for the bloody insides of sleeping victims. So gross. It's a self-segmenting vampiric female monster with dangling intestines. This thing is insane. Thank you, PBS Digital Studios. I'm finally making a show about Manananggal.
Manananggal. I didn't get that.
I'm Dr. Emily Zarka, and this is Monstra. I've been dying to do this episode since I first pitched this series. There's something so odd and obviously disturbing about this particular monster. The Manananggal is one of many types of aswang, a Filipino word meaning demon, ghoul, or witch.
Oh, Philippines. Huh.
These demonic creatures have appeared in literature as early as 1582 in Spanish missionary texts. But before the Spanish arrived, it's very likely that the indigenous peoples of the Philippines already had oral folklore about this monster. The vicious, organ-sucking Manananggal is sort of like an aswang subspecies. There are many different types of monsters in the Philippines that are labeled as aswang, but their appearance and habits divide them into subcategories. There's the blood-sucking vampire, the man-eating were-dog, the vindictive or evil-eyed witch, the carrion-eating ghoul, and the subject of this video, the self-segmenting viscera sucker. The name Manananggal comes from the Filipino word meaning to remove or to separate. This is what makes this aswang particularly unique, because she detaches her upper body from her lower torso. She then soars across the skies at night with bat-like wings. But during the day, the Manananggal is said to look like a beautiful woman. She is adept at successfully concealing her monstrous form and maintaining normal relationships. They can even be married. Her true nature is revealed at night, when her arms convert to wings, her torso divides, and she flies under the cover of darkness, looking for human victims. She's known to use her long, thread-like tubular tongue to reach through an opening in a window or roof, entering into the victim's body through the ears, nose, mouth, or abdomen to feed on some pretty disgusting stuff, like the discarded phlegm from sick people, or entire livers, lungs, intestines, and hearts of adult victims, and even fetuses. Pregnant women are rumored to be their ideal prey. Like I said, they are really gross. To prevent the monster from going back to her normal human form, one can sprinkle ashes, vinegar, spices, garlic, or salt onto her lower body stuff, which will prevent her from becoming whole again. So to conceal her identity and seamlessly return to that of a normal woman in the morning, the Manananggal hides the lower half of her body while she hunts. This is very important for her to do because she will die if her upper torso cannot reattach before daybreak. Banana groves are reportedly good hiding spots, maybe because banana trunks can look like human legs. Their creation story is just as bizarre. A woman is transformed into a Manananggal if she eats a baby black chicken that has been produced from the throat of an older existing Manananggal. But there is one way to cure a newly transformed Manananggal, by removing the baby chick from her stomach before it matures. Supposedly, this can be done by hanging the woman upside down from a tree and beating and fumigating her, or by swinging her violently until she pukes up the bird, which both, to be honest, also seem pretty horrifying. If it's too late for all that, and you need to kill the Manananggal, but you can't find its lower torso to season, there's always a good old sharp bamboo spear in the back. Some of the reasoning behind these attributes is a mystery, but I do have a few guesses. By naming pregnant women and unborn children the ideal prey, unexpected complications of pregnancy, even miscarriage, could be blamed on a monster. And the tubular tongue thing might have taken some inspiration from the large mosquito population in the Philippines. But those are only small parts of all this weirdness. We could speculate as to why this violent female viscera sufferer became more prevalent after Spanish colonization of the Philippines in 1521. Before the Spanish influence, kinship and inheritance were bilateral, with both male and female familial lines recognized. Divorce was socially acceptable and could be initiated by either party. Some women in ancient Filipino cultures also held important roles, serving as shaman priestesses, mediums, and healers. They had important duties and were involved in many ceremonies and rituals, including presiding over ancestral offerings of food and drink. As mediums, they could predict the future by reading signs in nature and also interpret dreams. Considered the keepers of historical knowledge, they would retell the myths that influence cultural morals. Women also served as herbalists and midwives, which are valuable roles in society. But Spanish colonialism had a dramatic effect on indigenous religious practices and the roles of women in sexuality. The pre-colonial Filipino cultures didn't put a particular value on chastity for any gender, although extramarital relationships were seen as improper only for women. When the Spanish came and promoted, even enforced, Christianity, non-marital sexual relationships were increasingly discouraged, and procreation was promoted as the primary purpose for sexuality. Removing sexual, social, and religious power from the female population in indigenous communities changed how women were perceived. The midwives, herbalists, and shamans were recast as witches to discredit their influence. Enter the Manananggal. Think about it. It's a female monster who threatens to eat fetuses, among other things. It's literally an exact reversal of the work associated with midwifery. You could even argue that the reason these creatures detach their upper bodies is to separate them from their sexual organs. Some scholars argue that the lingering effects of the Manananggal include architectural elements. A fear of these monsters in rural areas may have led to changes in how homes were constructed, including the addition of steep pitches on the roof and strategically placed windows to discourage perching. Social habits may have been affected too. Children slept in the center of the room or between parents to protect them from the long tongue of the Manananggal. Another cultural practice could have been influenced by a fear of this creature, how balut is consumed. consumed. Balut is the Filipino term for fertilized duck egg that is boiled and eaten directly from the shell. No one is really sure how long balut has been consumed in the Philippines because part of Spanish conquest included burning the writings of indigenous people. Nevertheless, there are some particular ways of eating balut that might be explained by the manananggal. A 2002 study of balut eaters revealed that although many of the respondents enjoyed eating it, they were disgusted with the idea of eating the embryo, especially if they saw the chick. Could this be why the manananggal is the ultimate taboo because it not only eats children but the unborn? Some said that eating balut, quote, makes a person like an aswang, also known as a manananggal. Remember, the manananggal and other aswang are said to be driven away by salt and spices. Balut is commonly eaten with pepper, vinegar, and chilies, salt, or other spices, perhaps in order to unconsciously ward off the negativity they associate with the monsters that prey on the unborn. I can't help but think this connects back to how these monsters are said to be created, by swallowing a young bird. Which came first, the balut or the manananggal? Filipino horror movies featuring traditional monsters contributed to a national identity by revitalizing traditional folklore like manananggals. She's been a staple in Filipino cinema since pioneer filmmaker Jose Nepomuceno made Ang Manananggal in 1927. We'll never know what this first manananggal on film looked like since that movie did not survive, but she does appear alongside other aswang in the 1932 film On Aswang and more recently in a 2016 film. A few of the female self-segmenting viscera suckers have appeared in Filipino popular culture. But very few globally. These monsters are relatively unknown outside of Southeast Asia, but that might be changing. Netflix is reportedly developing an animated series based on the Filipino comic Trece. The award-winning series follows a female detective who solves supernatural crimes. There's even a gang war between an Aswang clan and a Manananggal clan. The Manananggal's evolution is rooted in the indigenous history of the Philippines. It reveals how Spanish colonialization forever changed their culture. She is one of the more physically unique monsters I've come across. I think we should be seeing more of this stomach-churning creature. So, who wants to make a horror movie?
Smart ass. So yeah, what she said, the manananggal. Manananggal? I know I can't say that. So pretty much Midoriya is hunting that creature. So immediately he knows that manananggals are not as bad as a threat as they are as their counterparts. So he knows that something is up. Immediately he looks for the manananggal and waits around her legs. By the way, the manananggal is around where Chi-Chi and Trunks are and all that. So he immediately looks and immediately sees the manananggal, who he finds out is actually Android 17. No, Android 16, my apologies. Android 18, my bad, 18. I always get the two mixed up for some reason. So she sees that, and he sees Izuku. Oh, she's attempt to attack, but then Izuku showed a sign of respect. He backs up from the legs so she can attach herself, which she does. This is when an 18 attempts to actually convince him, but Izuku, who stops her and actually writes down, "Why are you attacking people? I know it's not for food. Considering that you can easily get food in any other location. My daughter and husband were murdered by gangs." Izuku sees through this. I mean, Izuku can easily tell when someone's lying, and he can easily tell who's lying, who's not. But he can tell in her tears. And Monomonkle hates stuff like salt, but he still feels sadness, and Izuku can tell that she is sad. They killed him because he was doing his job. The cops tried to persuade him to not investigate a gang, so the sheriff had him shot. and blamed it on his child and blamed it all on the gang. I just want revenge. Izuku nods and teleports away. And he gets to the sheriff's home. Izuku walks inside just to see the sheriff just having a blast with his wife. This is when Izuku's thinking, an eye for an eye. So immediately, he grabs a pillow, walks into their kids' bedrooms, and just puts it on their faces. The kids are immediately trying their best to get the pillow off of them. They're trying to scream. They're trying to call their mommies and daddy. They are scared. And this is when immediately Izuku pushes deeper and deeper. To the point where now the kids stop moving and they start twitching. And this is when immediately they die. Mind you, Izuku's smart. He wears gloves. So immediately, this is when Izuku walks up. This is when Izuku walks up to them. Let's do this. Alright. Anyway, this is when Bakugo said, and this is when immediately he goes to them, and immediately the wife just sees this burly man. Who the fuck? Before she could do anything or say anything, so yeah, this is when immediately Izuku Midoriya throws his hammer, which immediately pierces her skull, and the top half is destroyed. The only thing you see is her lower jaw. This is when you just see Izuku, this is when you see the sheriff just surprised and horrified at what happened to his wife. And he turns around to see Izuku, holding this is when Izuku just starts walking up to the guy. This is when the guy gets enraged and attempts to attack Midoriya. But Midoriya just stands there. Activates his claws and literally slashes at the guy. As soon as the slash hits, this is when the guy is surprised and sees the giant scar on his side. This is when he's completely... the girl is completely surprised. He wasn't expecting this. This is when Midoriya just gives him the evil aura that's around him. And immediately the guy says, "What the hell are you?" Izuku just walks up to him, not showing any respect. The guy begs, but it does nothing. All it does is just anger Izuku more with the sheer amount of disgust that he gets from this man, thinking that Izuku could easily be bought off after what he did. So Midoriya, not even hesitating, kills him. And literally just grabs a knife, he actually breaks both of the arms and legs of the guy. And the guy is just sitting there. He is now pleading. He is begging for Izuku to spare him, but Izuku does not. He continues piercing the flesh of the man. And the guy, this is when he grabs the knives and literally just started piercing the body. And this is when Midoriya just grabbed... the thing he needs to do. And this is going to be annoying. Anyway, this is when Midoriya literally... immediately just goes to them and just sees his next target. Anyway, so pretty much Izuku just walks up. Izuku took care of the problem. This one, Izuku took care of the problem, and he sees that at 17 is seeing this, and all she does is just smile, seeing that her family has been avenged. Izuku nods and just walks off. So, after that, Midoriya had told the people what happened. And this is when the new sheriff believes it, considering on what the rumors were. But he was really hoping that the rumors weren't true. He was truly hoping that his commander did not do such things. But he knew that something was up. Why else would he attack someone? So after that, the new sheriff immediately ordered the family having a proper burial. Now the killer has no. Now 17 has no 18. My mistake. 18. I think it was 18. Yeah, 18. My bad. 18 now has no reason to kill people. Well, besides food, of course. This is when Midoriya just sits down. This is when Midoriya just walks up and just smiles and nods. She nods back, knowing that her family has been avenged. Anyway, this is when Izuku says, "Alright. Alright, so this is when Midoriya literally just went up and just grabbed. This is when Midoriya starts walking off. And immediately he takes care of the problem. Now, this is when and he starts walking. And pretty much he travels until he reaches another location. In which I don't know the other. So this is when immediately he hears about a creature. They're calling the Tasmanian or the traitor. But this is when, and immediately when he gets there, he hears about this when he's approached by a child in Tasmania. This is when Izuku who sees him, and immediately this is when Izuku who sees it, and he says, "Are you Mr. Izuku nods, telling him that yes, he is the monster hunter. The guy sees a symbol of hope, saying, there's a bad monster that's been attacking people. We don't know what to do." Izuku thinking, bad monster? Izuku walks up to this bad monster.
It has...
Whoops, my bad. Okay, give me 1 minute. Okay, I'm back. I had to literally look up the damn monster. Turns out it's called a New Jersey Devil. So this is when Midoriya hears about this creature, and he knew he faced one of their kind before. But he does not remember their weakness, considering he was very young. He knows he has the scars on his back about the creature. Now, I'm going to say this, Midoriya does have scars from fighting the creature. So, pretty much, as you can imagine, the pure scars he has just by fighting this monster. Wasn't easy, he'll give you that. So this is when Midoriya literally just sits down. But this is when he knows he has to get repaired, because Jersey Devils are not so easy to defeat. So yeah, you can imagine that. Sorry about the pause. This is when Midoriya says, alrighty. Might as well try this. This is when Izuku immediately knows that he's going to have to deal with something. So Midoriya literally walks off, knowing that he's going to have to fight. So he gets prepared. He gets his hammer, gets more stuff to fight this monster. And he knows what Jersey Devils do. He knows how they think. Like he said, he's faced them before. So he knows easily. So once he gets to the new location, he gets there and he sees the monster. Which, by the way, I will get into the origins later. Just give me a minute. So pretty much this is when Izuku plays this. Here you go. By the way, this is by Mythology and Faction Explained.
October has managed to creep around the corner once again, so what better time to look at some more cryptids than the month of horror? Today we travel to Philadelphia to take a look at one of its most famous pieces of folklore, only second to the Trash Man, the Jersey Devil. As its name tells us, the Jersey Devil was said to inhabit southern Jersey in the Pine Barrens, a heavily forested area just off the coast. Most cryptids are fairly easy to describe because they resemble some kind of animal. The Jersey Devil does also kind of fall into this category, but it's far from easy to paint you a picture without actually showing you one. Over the years it's been described as a number of different things, but the most consistent is as a flying biped with hooves, which honestly means nothing when its appearance varies so much. Bat-like wings and hooves are the features that never really change. Its head is either said to be a goat or a horse with horns. It has small clawed arms and a forked tail. Many have likened the creature to a wyvern, and I guess it is a reasonable comparison. It does kind of remind me of a chimera, but with only one head. So, other than flying around and scaring people, what does the Jersey Devil actually do? Naturally, with it being the devil, it was seen as a bad omen. Everything from a bad harvest to droughts, missing livestock, and even cows who couldn't be milked were all blamed on the Jersey Devil. Then you have other sinister activities such as knocking down trees to squash people and boiling streams of water to burn them alive. Some believe that it appeared periodically, either every 7 or 13 years, a sign of war, disaster, and hardship that was yet to come. With the overall description out of the way, the next few questions we can attempt to answer are what is it and where did it come from? For this we have to go back to the 18th century when it was first seen in 1735. In the Pine Barrens region lived a woman named Jane Leeds, also known as Mother Leeds. Despite being very poor, Jane had no less than 12 children, with a 13th on the way.
Fucking hell!
When Jane found out she was pregnant once again, she cursed the child in her frustration, claiming that this child would be the devil. When the night came that Jane went into labour, there was a terrible storm that shook the entire house as her friends and family gathered to help her through the pregnancy. The child was born normal, but it began to change into a deformed monstrosity. Its feet turned into hooves, its head resembled a goat, leathery wings sprouted from its back, and a forked tail whipped violently around the room. The child screamed and thrashed its tail at anyone trying to hold it down. Eventually it broke free and flew up into the chimney, escaping into the pines. The local clergyman, believing it was a demon, tried an exorcism to remove it from the area, but they were unsuccessful. There are versions of this tale where the locals thought Mother Leeds was a witch or a sorceress of some kind, and the reason the child resembled a demon was because the father was the devil. This is also why at first the creature was known as the Leeds Devil, or the Devil of Leeds, a mixture of the family name and the town they lived in, known as Leeds Point. The credibility of this story, or even the possibility that it might be rooted in any real history, is questionable at best. There was a woman named Jane Leeds who was married to a Daniel Leeds, but there doesn't seem to be any connection between them and a devil child. Despite this, the newspapers of the 18th century still printed the story numerous times over the years. Was it an interesting story that would help them sell copies? Yeah, I'm sure it was. Was it a story that would lead people to visit the area? Again, I'm sure it did and still does. The point that I'm trying to make is, regardless of how true this story may have been, printing it had numerous benefits, so it's difficult to take that as undeniable evidence. Another explanation is that Mother Leeds was actually a woman named Deborah Leeds, who was married to a Japhet Leeds. They both lived in Leeds Point, and in 1736 Japhet named 12 children as part of his will, which does line up with the original legend. But was that a coincidence? Maybe the women in Leeds Point were just baby factories, or maybe Japhet was the father of the Jersey Devil. Either way, leaving your devil child out of the inheritance sounds like it can only end poorly. Another possible origin story is about a girl from Leeds Point who fell in love with a British soldier during the American Revolution. In 1778, the Battle of Chestnut Neck took place in southern New Jersey, so there would have been more than a slight bit of disdain between the two sides. The girl then meeting with this soldier in secret and eventually falling pregnant with his child meant that this was seen as treason, and so the town cursed the girl and her child. This resulted in her then giving birth to a child that would later become the Leeds or Jersey Devil. There are no credible photos of the Jersey Devil, so all we have to go by are the accounts of people who have claimed to have seen the creature, and there have been quite a few over the years. One of the most famous sightings comes from Joseph Bonaparte, the elder brother of Napoleon. Joseph swore that he saw a devilish creature fly by when hunting game on the grounds of his Bordentown estate in 1820. A few decades later, in 1840, the locals claimed to have seen the creature again, in the same place, this time killing livestock. A year later, in 1841, similar sightings were reported once again, this time claiming they heard screams and saw tracks in the snow. In 1925, sightings around livestock continued when a farmer claimed that he saw an animal that he could not identify trying to steal his chickens. He fetched his rifle and fired, hitting his target and killing the animal. He took photos of its corpse and showed it to over 100 people, but none of them could identify what it was. It does raise the question of how one would kill such a creature. Clearly the farmer believed his rifle did the job, but there are some stories that slightly contradict this. When Commodore Stephen Dessiter visited the Hanover Mill to inspect cannonballs that were being made for his ship, he was in for quite a surprise. He said that he saw an enormous creature flying above him in a menacing fashion. The Commodore then fired a cannonball at the creature, but to his surprise it did nothing, as the creature flew by unharmed. The amount of alleged encounters and sightings from regular townsfolk is quite interesting because of how wildly they can differ. There's a story that comes from a sheriff and some of his officers that makes it seem as if the Jersey Devil is more than just a mindless monster. The sheriff and his men were chasing the Jersey Devil away from a farm where the owner had reported missing cattle and blood-curdling screams. The devil then fled into the woods, leaving the men at the edge too scared to chase any further. The sheriff then yelled, "If it is true, and you are the devil, then rattle your chains." All of the men swore that they heard its chains rattle. This story ties into the previous versions that believe the father of the child may have been the devil. It's also a rare account of the creature attempting to interact in some way that doesn't involve a sinister act. The Leeds Devil was a story that started in the 18th century, and for the next few centuries stories about a creature that stalked the Pine Barrens spread to the surrounding areas. By the 19th century, it had become part of New Jersey's folklore and tradition, a ghost story that you would tell your friends and family on a dark and stormy night. It wasn't until the 20th century that people started to refer to it as the Jersey Devil. This is also when it was given its general appearance. What had previously been referred to as an animal, a demon, or a monster was now a weird mix between a goat and a kangaroo. 1909 was the year the Jersey Devil went from a piece of folklore known in New Jersey to a legend that almost everyone in North America had heard of. January 16th until January 23rd marked the most significant week in the Jersey Devil's history. Newspapers published hundreds of claimed encounters and sightings all over the state. Up until then, sightings had been quite sporadic and mostly occurred in the same area. These encounters ranged from attacks in a Camden social club to the police shooting the creature in Bristol, Pennsylvania. They even went as far as Delaware and Maryland, creating a snowball effect. The more people heard of the Jersey Devil, the more people reported seeing it. It almost created a mass panic to the point where schools and local businesses were closed, warning people to stay indoors where it was safe. Groups of hunters, vigilantes, and concerned individuals traveled to New Jersey in search of the creature. Wealthy collectors even offered rewards up to $10,000 for the creature's capture. Some didn't care if it was dead, wanting it for their own private collection, whereas others were willing to donate the creature to the Philadelphia Zoo. As you can imagine, with that amount of money being thrown around at that time, the hoaxes began, as people tried to make some quick cash in all the hysteria. All sorts of animals were handed in with the claim that they had found the creature. Someone even attached wings and claws to the corpse of a kangaroo in the hopes that those desperate enough would pay. After that week of madness, the Jersey Devil had cemented itself as an American urban legend. The number of reported sightings did eventually die down as people went about their lives as usual. Several explanations were offered as to what the Jersey Devil was and why it came to be. The simplest being that hundreds of years ago it was very common to misidentify animals, and what people may have seen may have just been a hill crane, though it is quite hard to match that description to the Jersey Devil. There's also the possibility that British settlers may have just created a boogeyman story, a form of entertainment, or even a way to keep their children safe. The Pine Barrens were a dangerous, harsh, and unwelcome place to live. It was also rampant with bandits and highwaymen who would rob and kill those passing by. So making up a story about an evil creature to scare people away from the Pine Barrens seemed like a smart way to keep them safe. Although this plan doesn't really work when your story actually encourages more people to visit the area. Personally, I've always been a fan of folklore and legends that are unique to specific areas. There are so many universal ideas throughout folklore, it's always refreshing when you get something as weird as this story. Let me know what you think. I'm sure some of you watching this currently live in New Jersey. I'd love to hear if you have any stories growing up, or if you know someone who claims they have seen the Jersey Devil. As always.
Well, that's what you get. That's what the lore is. Jersey Devil. So pretty much you see, this is when Midoriya actually grabs his hammer. Now, he knows he can easily defeat the creature, but there's one thing that Izuku had that Izuku did not have. Speed. Izuku had the strength and the durability, but he does not have the speed, especially since he could have easily killed the thing. And he knew it was going to take a lot more to kill it. So he knew he went quick. So immediately, when he started grabbing, this is when he gets to the creature. And the creature is now just attempting to attack. But here's what he knows. It's the same Jersey Devil he fought. They both remember each other with the scars. Izuku took out its red eye. And the creature gave it a nasty slash on his chest. So immediately, Izuku Midoriya and the creature fought. Horns and slashes were on each other. Their blades claws clashed and hammers blunted. They both fought for an hour. And their fight even got to cities and towns where everyone started looking at the Jersey Devil in pure horror and looking at Izuku with hope and discouragement. Izuku Midoriya fought the creature with vast sheer brutality and sturdiness. So he knew that something was up. It did not take a fucking expert to know this. So pretty much after this, it took him 4 days to finally defeat the creature. After finally defeating it, Midoriya pretty much went to the creature, lift the hammer up to his head, and just slammed his hammer literally to the creature's head and cracked its skull open. This is when Midoriya is now just laying on the ground, completely tired. Immediately, the townsfolk gave Izuku water and food. Izuku didn't even hesitate to eat the food. He just chowed down. Everyone started celebrating the death of the Jersey Devil. Izuku knew that it was a good fight. But he now thinks on something. The creature may have more relatives. So he's gonna have to keep that in mind. Hopefully they're not as evil as this Jersey Devil. So after eating, and Izuku even got a little bit of company. Pretty much, let's say, some random mail. So Midoriya, after literally getting done, he immediately knew he had to take care of it. Alright. Alright, so this is when Midoriya grabs more supplies he knew. At least they were negotiable. Anyway, so this is when and he wakes up to see the man. He moves out of the way carefully and puts the blanket over him, as kindness and as gratitude for letting Izuku pretty much fuck him. Immediately, everyone gave him pretty much 8 months worth of food, which he was very grateful. Well, he knew he was going to need it, and especially since he might use it for bait. So Midoriya also took a hefty check, which was from the boy. He was given a little coin. Izuku was thankful and literally walked off. The kiddo was happy to have his child avenged. But here's what he knows. As soon he was about to leave, he realized that the child's not there. In fact, when he turns around, he sees the child, but he's pale. This is when Izuku realized that the child was one of the freaking creatures, his victims. And he sees the other innocent victims that face the Jersey Devil. Or the Tasmanian. Yeah, Jersey Devil, my mistake. The Jersey Devil's wrath. He sees that the creature ripped the kid's throat out. Oh, and this one the child just says in a happy voice, "Thank you." And the boy, and along with the innocents that's been slaughtered by the creature, fade away and go to the afterlife. He smirks, knowing that he is happy that he did a good deed. Now, we get to Izuku in Russia. Immediately, this is when Midoriya sees him. Now, pretty much Midoriya just gets to Russia, and let's say he does more than just monster contracts, because humanity can be monsters too. Don't believe me? If you guys don't believe me, then you all are pretty much bigger idiots than me. Because I know humans can be monsters. I've seen some of the shit you all do that it did not need my help for. So yeah, don't think I don't know. You humans are pretty much fucked up in the head. It doesn't take an expert to fight, I doubt. What you all are capable of. So after that, Midoriya literally just sat there and just knew something was up. So anyway, Midoriya takes a contract killing some humans, which he was okay with. He didn't really mind it, considering humans can be monsters. So pretty much he goes to the Russian Mafia. And pretty much he was hired by the Russian Mafia to kill a group of pedophiles. And they knew that Izuku hates pedophiles. So immediately they tell him the location and how much they're paying, and Izuku, not even hesitating, walks off with anger in his eyes. Next, we get to the Mafia leader. Sir, you think it was a good idea to hire him? I'm sure. He'll get the job done. It's not that I don't doubt it. It's just how brutal he's gonna make it. I know he will make it brutal. We both do. We also know the consequences. So it's wise to stay on his good side, yes? Yes, sir. Besides, we're going to be facing him a lot. This is when Midoriya just sits down. Anyway, this is when Midoriya... Yeah, literally, this is when pretty much he traveled. When he got to the location, he sees the pedophiles. They mistake him for one of them as well and attempts to actually talk, but Izuku just grabs the guy by the head and literally just rips it off with the jaw still attached to the stump of the neck. So you can imagine that brutality. Howdy. So after that, Midoriya goes inside and continues fighting, going in and starts fighting the others. Because he knew that this fight was going to end brutal. For them, anyway. So after that, Midoriya literally starts facing them. My mistake. Did not mean to yawn. This is when Midoriya... literally just walks up, sees them, grabs his stuff. Of mostly his weapons, his armor, and all that. Not even hesitating to attack. He literally fights them off. Now, this is when the guys attempt to attack him, but this is when he destroys their neck by literally breaking the poor guy's windpipe. Did I actually have the nerve to say poor guy? Well, what am I saying? It is. The brutality was so bad that some of the kids fainted due to pure shock and horror. When the Mafia got there, they just see the mutilated corpses and thinking, Jesus. Immediately the guy was like, holy, look at this. Yes, look at them. You can't even tell who's alive or who's dead. Are you sure or it was a good idea to hire him? You can't be picky who you hire, my friend. Even if you are, there is no point in judging. If we judge him, he'd be no better than them. Besides, he had every right to kill them. corpses here, they'll show how brutal a man can be. This is when Izuku walks up to the guys. Here is your payment. He takes it. And again, before he could even leave the damn plate, a chi blast hits him right in the face, which now annoys him. And in Midoriya, this one the guy is like, oh, back up, 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 back up. This one the Mafia is like, oh, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. We do not want to get into this one. And this is when he just sees Kakarot and Vegeta. Izuku, now having enough, releases his full aura. Not even before Goku could even say anything, Izuku punches him right in the heart, so brutal that the heart just flew off and just hit the guy right in the head. This is when Midoriya, this is when he goes to Vegeta, and this is when he just grabs him. Vegeta now in horror, or is thinking, this is when Izuku's thinking, might as well give you a message. Bitch, and starts stripping Vegeta. Now this is when the guy, Monster Mafia, is like, wait, is he? Oh yeah, he's going to go, 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 go. Oh, the Russian lead, the Mafia leader is like, go, 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 go. Oh, but sir, shouldn't we stop that? You want to try to stop him? No. That's what I thought. Shut up. So you try to stop him. No, I like to live. Yeah, that's what I thought. Shush and run! After Izuku got done raping Vegeta, he immediately took him out. So pretty much after that, Midoriya destroyed this guy's poor life. Permanently. After getting done with that, Izuku walked off. Vegeta now just tearing up at what happened to him, and now horrified of Izuku. Izuku thinking, I let my anger control me again. Damn it. And Izuku walks off. And the routine just goes on and on. Izuku always on the road, never finding love, never for trying to. Izuku was always known as Izuku the Monster Slayer, Izuku the Wanderer. You pretty much get where I'm going. So yeah, that's been the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I have. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. This is Dunkle Dylan here, God of Chaos, and I will see you all in the next video.